Optimism, the light that never burns out. For every single negative thought, have 3 positives to trump. What's up? So this is my first real episode. Last one was an introductory to kind of tell you the journey that I am embarking on. But this is my first real edible content. Like I said, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think that some of the things that I had to say would be worthwhile, would provide meaning or something helpful to your life. And let me tell you, this is really the number one thing that of the reason of why I ever wanted to create a YouTube channel or to get a video out there talking about this specifically. I'm talking about taking your passion and putting it to action. And my passion happens to be optimism. Going into my junior year of high school, participated in this thing called Leadership Camp that's Michigan Association for Student Councils and Honor Societies. But there, I got to meet some awesome people, and that was really a crucible moment in my life to really shape how I view the world and my perspective and my spin on how I want to change the world, and giving me the tools and the passion to do those things. And so going into my second year of doing it, the summer before my senior year, I had a lot of positive energy coming from the previous summer. The summer of right before my senior year, I was a level 2 camper. There's an activity where you have like 30 different passions, different values on a piece of paper. And the activity is that, you have 10 minutes to dwindle it down to 20 values that you hold dear and close to you. And you kind of see where this is going. After you get through 20, then you narrow it down to 15, then 10, and then 5. Then you ultimately lead to one outstanding value in your life that holds true to you more than anything else. I kept realizing, like, whenever I was circling all these values, there's things like family, friendship, love, compassion, and optimism was on there. That was always the first one that I always circled. And how I got there is that if I lose my family, lose my friends, my name, my status, my wealth, or whatever, you can manage to find the positive in the situation. Not be naive, but we all have a choice on to live a positive life. There's so many negative things in the world. And when it comes to making small talk, you can talk about all the things that are going wrong, but why bother when you can talk about all the things that are going right? It's a natural thing for me to do. Thinking positively and to live a positive lifestyle, not just to feel positive in moments of the day, but to actually, from the moment of waking up to the time you go to sleep, to feeling positive about where your life is going and what you have done with your life thus far. And for me, narrowing it down to optimism being my number one goal really was a huge moment where I'm like, wow, like, this is my passion, this is my mission. If I could do anything for the world, it would be to convince people the power of positivity, what it can do for you simply by changing the way you think about everything in your life, and not just going through the motions the day by day, but taking that as an opportunity to see it in a positive light, to see how it can affect your life. Which is why when it came to doing the next activity, now that you know your passion, how are you going to put it to action? And I was stumped on this for a while. You could do something nice for someone, but then they kind of can go on with their day, or something bad can happen. How do you get to the root of the problem? The root of the problem is the way you think about those things. Bad things happen to people all the time, but what are you going to do next? How are you then going to let what just happened affect your life? The now what? It came to me. I think people just need the reminder. They just need to see how to change it. You can tell people, think positively, but it's like, okay, it's not that easy for me. So that's when I came up with these optimism cards. I call them optimism cards. I call them reminder cards. But really, this is my way of putting my passion into the world through action. I read this book called As a Man Thinketh, less than 80 pages. It's an old book, but it is fantastic. Highly recommend reading it. A lot of character building in it. I almost read it before I was mature enough to process what it was really saying, but I took away something where it said, for every single negative thought, have 3 positives to trump. And it went on to say about the power of 3. If you can take any single one negative moment in your life, and if you just have 3 positive things that can spin out of that same negative thing, then whatever it is, the positivity will triumph over the negative. And it's such a simple rule, but if you can only put it on a business card, and whether they use it as a bookmark or on their dash in their car or their flip down mirror or tape it to their mirror or in their wallet or on their card, if people could just see it at least one time a day, it'd be great. It'd be great if this was on a billboard. Screw advertising. But what if you saw this before YouTube videos? Just like subtle reminders of optimism, the light that never burns out. You're feeling negative, have 3 positives to trump. And I think it's a pretty easy concept, but doing this passion to action activity, I actually got sponsored, chosen as the top 3 really good ideas amongst this leadership camp. And I was actually supposed to get money to put my passion into action. I mean, I never got the money, but regardless, whenever I went to go print them at my local printing shop, shout out to John Johnson and his parents at Johnson Printing, I knew the people that own the business. When I told them about why I was making these cards, Mrs. Johnson, she was so moved about like my mission and why I was doing these. She was like, you don't even have to pay me. I'm going to make 1,000 of these cards. No, she made me 2,000 of these cards. I'm just going to make 2,000 of these cards and I'm just going to give them to you. And if you run out, just come back and I'll make more. I haven't ran out yet. Needless to say, she made these awesome, high gloss, like super high quality cards for me. It was such a cool moment because when I got to tell somebody else that knew nothing about, I told her 5 minutes of my story. I'm so glad that you are doing this, that I just want to give you the resources. That's the least that I can do. And since then, that summer before my senior year of high school, I've kind of created like my own pay it forward kind of rule. When I try to gift it to people, I try to give people 4 cards. Keep 1 for yourself, but I'm going to give you 3 others to give to someone else that may need it. At any point in time, it can change someone's life. If they had their own card, give it. And if you run out and you feel like you need more, ask me and I will give you more. And I've been doing that since high school. I've used opportunities through Leadership Safari, which is a leadership program for incoming students at Central Michigan University. I've given it to anytime I get to share a piece about me, whether I'm like coming into a new organization, they're like, oh, bring an item that describes you. This is what I always talk about. If you can't remember me by anything else, and if you're like, what was one word that described David Wong, it'd be optimism. And then I hope the next story that you said after that was talking about like, hey, you remember those crazy inspiration, optimism cards that he made? I still have mine. It's helped me out in more ways than I can think. For the people that already have them, I've been at bars, a handful of people would be like, hey, like, I still keep your card. Some people use it as their bookmark in their Bible. Some people just leave it on their corkboard in their room. Some people leave it in their car so they see it every time they get in the car. That means a lot to me, but more so like a card is a card. It's the message behind it. Tim Ferriss, whenever he interviews people, he always says like, if you can put one message out into the world on a billboard anywhere in the world, what would it say? I'd put this for sure. I wouldn't promote anything else but to think positively and how to do it.